What's up, guys? Welcome back to Painfully Honest Advice. My name is Andy, and today's video is going to be all about the 6 books that have changed my life and my thinking. These books are going to be focused all around personal finance, investing, if you're looking to starting a business or being an entrepreneur. Now, hey, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Andy, and I'm an entrepreneur that has multiple sources of income. Now, my 2 main sources of income are my 2 businesses. One is selling financial service products, where I have a team of people that manage that business for me. And second is a full sit-down restaurant, where I also have a manager in place for that. Given that, it allows me to focus on making videos like this. It lets me focus on investing in real estate and investing in the stock market. Now, all of these 6 books, guys, have changed my life forever as far as my thinking around finance, becoming an entrepreneur, taking the risk to open up my own business, as well as investing in the stock market and investing in real estate. I will share with you guys who each of the 6 books that I share are for, as well as my 5 takeaways from each book. All right, so the first book that is on my list is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, this book is literally one of my favorite books of all time, and if you haven't read this book, I highly encourage you to check it out. Now, this book is a great book for anybody that wants to get into knowing a little bit more about their personal finance or investing for beginners. If you don't have any investments, or you're just getting started and want to find out more about how to invest your money, how to make money, how to reinvest your money, this is a great book. It is one of my all-time favorite books, and I would highly encourage this book for any beginner that is, wants to know basically anything about money. So to tell you guys a little bit more about this book and my takeaways from this book is literally about Robert Kiyosaki and his rich dad and poor dad, as he explains in the book. Basically, his rich dad is an entrepreneur, and it's not his real dad. It's actually his best friend's dad that he looks up to. Being that it's his best friend, he has the insight to be able to talk to his rich dad and get the best insight from him as far as what works and his take on being an entrepreneur. And then his poor dad is actually his real dad, who works a 9-to-5 job, who doesn't focus on taking any risks, and who's kind of just in that grind and focuses on, hey, you should just keep a 9-to-5 job just for the safety of that job, but not taking any risks, and really doesn't expand, I guess, his risk into being an entrepreneur. So this book is really comparing his rich dad, who is his best friend's dad, and comparing that to his poor dad, who's kind of working that 9-to-5 job. The book really talks about the mindset that you need to have, and it really goes into detail in regards to money, how in school, you never actually learn about money at all. So that's one of the keys, and one of the biggest things that I got away from the book is just learning the right ways on how to invest money and how to grow money. It's got great ideas in regards to making passive income, basically putting your money in place and letting it work for you. So I have actually gone ahead and made a video in regards to my ways on how I make passive income and ways to get started with making passive income if you're an 18-year-old or you basically have a limited source of money. But I will link that in this video right here, I believe, so you guys can check that out. But this book really talks about how you can make passive income and really focusing on buying assets and not liabilities. Just comparing the two and sharing with you guys what an asset would be compared to what a liability would be. Is an asset would be anything that is growing and that's going to increase in value. For example, once you purchase a real estate property, that would be an asset because it's going to keep growing year over year, month over month. A liability would be like purchasing a car, right? Purchasing a car is going to depreciate. It's not going to grow your money. It's actually going to lose you money every year. I will say with this book, Robert Kiyosaki has really simplified the language, so it's very understandable for anybody out there. Whether you are in the finance field or you're not in the finance field, it is very simple. He's kept the strategies very simple and relatable. One of the biggest takeaways that I got from this book was the 2 vehicles that he talks about for growth. Now, the 2 main vehicles that he talks about for growth are investing in real estate, which is a slower growth strategy because it takes longer to see your return, but it's a great strategy because your money is always growing over time. And the second vehicle of growth that he talks about is investing in small cap stocks. Now, small cap stocks is a higher and riskier investment, but he talks about that being the faster growth as far as growing your money. Just as a heads up to you guys, I have provided a link down below in my description that you guys can check out if you're interested in any of the 6 books. And the link is basically for Amazon if you were looking at purchasing one of the books. So the second book that is on my list is The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. Now, this book is a great book in regards to time management, how to build passive income so you only have to work 4 hours a week. Now, this is one of my favorite books in regards to just focusing on time management and really taking advantage of how to structure yourself so you're only spending 4 hours a week working and making that passive income and letting that money work for you while you sleep. So the book really talks about working smarter and not harder. All right, so some of my takeaways from this book, guys, is that it talks about the 80-20 rule. Basically, 80% of your results are focused on 20% of your time. Now, that's a great way to look at it because investing your time and using that 20% of your time as the most valuable piece will result in 80% of the results. Now, 2 of the other takeaways that I got out of this book is it describes the new rich. And basically, what exactly is the new rich, right? So it describes how the new rich are people that really don't care about being millionaires. They care more about the flexibility of their time and having the time and the freedom to do what they want when they want. It really focuses on and digs deep into that. And to me, I really thought that was something that's really a new millennial thing. All right, so the final thing that I'll share in regards to the 4-Hour Workweek is that it really talks about focusing on your ultimate goal. So focusing on your bigger picture. Now, whatever your bigger picture may be, maybe it's focusing on traveling, having the flexibility to do what you want to do, and setting all your goals to line up with that ultimate goal that you have in place. Okay, so the third book that is on my list is called The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. Now, this book is all about budgeting and creating wealth. Now, Thomas Stanley does a great job in this book as far as sharing the characteristics of what the wealthy do to increase their wealth and how they basically got there. I would highly recommend this book for anybody that's focused on their budget basically, or focused on creating wealth and increasing their net worth. Okay, so some of the takeaways that I actually got out of this book is the characteristics that he shares that all wealthy people have in common. And there's basically 4 characteristics that he shares in the book. Now, the first one is self-discipline, second one is hard work, third one is perseverance, and fourth one is planning. So these are the 4 characteristics that he shares in the book. So I would highly recommend, if you want to dig deeper into that, to check out the book. But those are the 4 main characteristics that he does share in regards to wealth. Some of the other things that he does share in the book is he talks about the 10,000 hour rule. But basically, this was the first time I actually read anything about the 10,000 hour rule, and this is where I got it from. But basically, what it tells you is that it takes 10,000 hours to be able to master anything. And the last thing that I'll share with you guys in regards to this book is that it does talk about 7 common things that all wealthy people do. Now, I'm not going to share all 7 in this because I recommend that you guys check out the book, but I'll share some of them with you guys now. So some of the common things that all wealthy people have in common that he shares is living well below your means, allocating your time, energy, and money efficiently. Being financially independent is more important for them than a high social status. Coming from parents that did not provide them with economic care or basically provide them with money, and that they were self-made. And finally, being proficient at targeting market opportunities. All right, guys, so my 4th book that is on my list is a book by Simon Sinek, and the book's called Leaders Eat Last. Okay, so this book really talks about becoming a better leader and the leadership skills that you should have to be able to manage people. It does go into details as far as some of the managerial traits that you should have to become a better leader. Some of the takeaways that I got from this book is to be able to focus on other people and focus on other people's needs and putting the other person's need in front of yours. Now, when you are building a team or you're leading a group of people, one of the biggest things that it does discuss is how you want to make it a safe place for everybody to work and to be able to collaborate with each other. Really, it focuses on building a sense of belonging and using words like we as opposed to me. Building a truly safe space for individuals to be able to work together and collaborate. Now, one of the main takeaways that I did get out of this book was it talks about how we all have a boss. Now, a lot of people, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you own your own business, think that you don't have a boss. But in my case, I have two businesses that I own, and my boss is either my customer or my client, right? Because at the end of the day, that's who I'm tailoring to. That is, if that person is not coming in my door, then I'm not in business, right? So we all have a boss, and it really talks about how you need to share that, and you should share that with your team so they understand, and that we are all in the same playing field where our boss is our customer. So it does a great job with sharing that. And the last thing that I'll say in regards to this book is it talks about how time is more important than money. So really developing your time and developing, or I should say putting in your time and building that relationship is more valuable to your employees than putting out a contest, for example, that's only focused around money. Okay, so moving on to the fifth book on the list, and this book honestly is an awesome book in regards to growing your income. The fifth book on the list is called The Power of Zero by David Knight. This book shares great ideas in regards to creating your wealth and growing your wealth in different buckets. The three buckets that it goes over and it goes into is the taxable bucket, the tax deferred bucket, and the 0% tax bracket bucket. But it's a great book in regards to sharing income ideas and how to grow your income and grow your passive income where you're not paying taxes into retirement, and it goes over some details which I'll share with you guys here. Now, I'm not going to be able to share all the income ideas that it does go over into the book, but basically just to break down the three different buckets that this book really goes into. Now, with the tax-free bucket, it talks about 0%, paying 0% taxes into retirement, and shares different investment vehicles where you can do that. With the tax deferred bucket, it basically talks about how you're not paying tax on these certain items right now, say investments or 401k, but you're paying taxes later on. So it's tax deferred. And then there's the taxable bucket. Basically, it's items that you're paying taxes on every single year when you're filing your taxes, which would be like a CD or a savings account. So I really do like the ideas that he shares in regards to all three of these buckets. So I just want to break it down. I'll keep it very simple, but I want to tell you guys some of the ideas that he shares in regards to all three of these buckets. But basically with the taxable bucket, some of the items that would be considered taxable that you have to pay taxes on at the end of the year would be in regards to a savings account or a CD where you're earning an interest rate, and you have to basically pay taxes on the gains that you made in that. Or additionally, if you invest in stocks or bonds, you would have to pay taxes on that at the end of the year. Now, the advantages of something like this would be that it's totally liquid. Now, what he talks about in his advice on this is that he does mention that you do not want to have more than 6 months of your money invested in this bucket, and basically keeping this as kind of your emergency fund. Now, the second bucket that he talks about is the tax deferred bucket. Basically with the tax deferred bucket, it would be investing in a long-term type of account, and it would be basically looking at like a 401k or like an IRA, which is an individual retirement account. So you're basically investing in the market, but you're investing in things called mutual funds. And I will share a video with you guys, and I'll link it above here, but you guys can check that out. But that's basically sharing my investment ideas in regards to investment ideas for 18-year-olds, where you can invest in tax-deferred type of products like a 401k or an IRA. Now, he does talk about the benefits of investing in a tax-deferred account. Basically, one of the major benefits of that is that all the contributions that you put into it are tax deductible, but you do have to pay tax at a later point. But usually, as you go up in age, your tax bracket does go lower and lower. Now, if I'm confusing you with any of this language, I do highly encourage you to check out my video that I've made for investment advice for 18-year-olds, which kind of breaks down what an IRA is, what a 401k or a mutual fund would be. And the third and final bucket that he shares is the tax-free bucket. Basically, this is the 0% income bracket that you are not paying any taxes on. You're paying 0% taxes on if you invest in these vehicles into retirement. And the two main ideas or the two main vehicles that he talks about in this is setting up a Roth IRA and also setting up a life insurance retirement plan. With this tax bracket, the retirement account and the Roth IRA, basically if you contribute into that, everything that you're contributing is growing for you tax-free. So when you withdraw it, any gains that you have, you will not pay taxes when you're invested into this Roth IRA. And the second piece is the life insurance retirement plan, but that just in general, just to keep it very simple, is basically investing in a life insurance policy. Usually it's like a whole life policy where it's building cash value. And when you take out that cash value, you're not paying any type of interest on it into retirement. All right, so the sixth book that is on my list of my favorite books of all time is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Now, this is a great book in regards to focusing on taking ownership and leading by example. This book really focuses great on taking ownership of your actions and focusing on becoming a better leader. And there's a quote that I wrote down from the book. It says, "There are no bad teams, only bad leaders." And the book actually takes place in a war zone, and basically the two people that wrote this book talked about military and how taking ownership in the military and really emphasizing it across the board and relating it to finance and relating it to business. All right, so as far as the leadership traits, I'm going to share with you guys right now, but I wrote these down, so I'm just going to read it off real quick. But these are some of the traits that really hit home with me, and some of the ones that I'm focused on as far as becoming a better leader. Those include prioritizing and executing, living and owning up to your own mistakes, being coachable, basically not having an ego, and when people are giving you advice, being coachable and being open to that. That leadership leaders must own up to all their actions and not blame it on other people. And the final one that I wrote down was discipline equals freedom. So this is a great book for anybody that manages people, that wants to brush up on their leadership skills, and basically that has to lead by example, and sharing some of the traits that all leaders have in common. All right, guys, so that is gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the 6 books that I've shared in this video in regards to personal finance, and books that have actually changed my life in regards to owning a business and really helping make my decisions in regards to my personal finances. If you did, please smash that like button for me. That would honestly be highly appreciated. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, because I make more videos in regards to personal finance, business, real estate, and investing in the stock market. And I will see you guys at the next one.